So you guys have a deep history in music, and that kind of leads me to my next question. What's the coolest way you ever made money? Might not be the most money you ever made, but the coolest way.
The coolest way.
Probably getting to throw the first ever shows for people like Post Malone and Metro Boomin, 21 Savage.
21 Savage.
Just because that was what we were good at while we were doing the music stuff. We had our finger on the pulse as far as like what's going to be next to blow up.
Just like the underground that was just bubbling and just was going to blow.
And we wanted to bring these people to Florida because nobody had done it yet or taken the risk of bringing such a up and coming act to Florida because it could flop or it could hit. So that was fun, and it was cool because we honestly didn't make a lot of money off of it, but we established
that relationship, and we did maybe one or two more shows after that. Maybe one more show with 21 after that.
Yeah, and then at least one more, and then just that's the thing that with especially with the music stuff is sometimes even if you break even on something, it's considered a success because you didn't lose money and you probably gained new contacts and relationships.
Yeah, you're furthering that relationship with whether it's the promoter, the manager, the artist, whatever. It's just that's more valuable in that industry than just making money
for long term. So
for sure.
Book them
a lot of shady people. So when you meet a good person, you want to really build like a good relationship with them.
Exactly.
Let's go back to this. You said you threw 21 Savage, Post Malone, and Metro Boomin's
not all at the same time.
Different shows, but
still, I mean, those are some of the biggest artists and music makers in the world. Post Malone, bro.
It's crazy. And the post show was actually in Dallas. We flew there for less than a day to do the show because we had booked another Atlanta artist and our artist to do a big warehouse party. And the girl who we threw the show with was actually dating Post Malone.
I think they met maybe like that week or something.
Yeah.
It was like the week he dropped White Iverson.
Yeah, this was right after White Iverson came out.
She was a poppin' promoter in Dallas. Somehow they linked up. And he ended up, he came to the show. Performed White Iverson a couple of times because that was the only thing he had.
Yeah, that was the only song he had out, so he just played it like over and over again.
That's awesome.
It was sick though.
Yeah. So did you book him before White Iverson, and it just so happened that White Iverson?
No,
it kind of just like fell into place.
Okay,
so honestly,
like we had been looking to do an event with this chick because she had just had a really strong brand out in Dallas and was booking like Chief Keef and Gucci and just cool shows.
Cool. Yeah, wow.
And
really
she's
cool
like
girl.
this cool 19-year-old chick who's just like plugged in. And so we had mutual friends and got connected with her, and basically we planned that show, and she was like, hey, we're going to add Post to this because we're kind of dating now and White Iverson's popping.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool how timing could just line up.
Yeah, I mean, 21 was $400.
Yeah, 21 was $400. It was insane.
What year?
2015?
When his first tape came out.
It was when Slaughter Tape.
Okay.
So that's...
It was... it
wasn't 2016. It was 2015.
Definitely. And then Metro, I think Metro was like
$800
bucks
and a hotel room.
Yeah.
And we did Miami and Orlando.
It was great because the manager was like, what do you want Metro to play? And we were like, man, just play some like unreleased stuff, play some unreleased Thug or I don't know.
Yeah, because this was the first time Metro Boomin had ever been asked to really do a DJ set. So like a music producer being asked to do a DJ, like a hip hop producer, like you have electronic producers who do DJ sets all the time.
Yeah, that's
like,
different.
No one had thought to book a hip hop producer who's really popping at that time to do a DJ set, and that was what we ended up doing. And now, Metro gets like 40 grand a show. It's insane.
Wow. Yeah. You got him for 800. 2 shows.
800.
I mean, that's cool that you booked Metro because he's tapped in with every big artist in Atlanta.
I mean,
Gucci,
especially from like
everyone.
I think we did this in it might have been 2013. But yeah, it was, all those are...
It's like was Metro Thuggin' out at that point, maybe?
Yeah, Metro Thuggin' was out. But it was just cool, and in that moment to be able to do that, and just all that type of work that we did for those 5 years helped us. Like we wouldn't have our shop without doing all that stuff those first 5 years, because while we were throwing shows and managing artists, my brother and I were buying vintage and buying records and reselling it. So while we were doing that stuff, we were doing pop-up shops with records and vintage.
Sometimes they'd be at the concerts we would throw. Sometimes they'd just be
Really?
On the
yard
street,
sales in
yeah,
front of
like,
our house.
Wow.
We would do, and it was when we started to do these big, like, vinyl and vintage clothing yard sales in our house. We were making real money doing that. We were like, wow, this could be something.
Yeah, there's enough of a demand for this in Orlando right now.
And we love it because we were passionate about records and vintage clothing.
Yeah, it's like records and vintage, my two favorite things.
That records and vintage replaced sneakers and jerseys for me when I was like, that's what I was into when I was younger.
Same here.
This is what it is now.
I think that's incredible right there. You didn't know you were gonna have this business at that time, but you loved records and vintage, and you just started doing it. I think that's so important for kids. It just takes time. You
Exactly.
Didn't know you
Just take 80% of it is just putting yourself out there and risking it and just seeing how it turns out. And it was just like we did the pop-up shops with the records and the clothing for like a year and a half before we were like, okay, now we need to look for a store because this is
And we weren't
real.
just looking for like the first spot available. It's like once we stumbled upon this, it was like, all right, this is the perfect spot.
You do have the perfect spot.
We really do. We're
very thankful.
Very thankful that we stumbled upon this because it would have just gone. It would have been different the last few years. I feel like if we were set up in a different area, like I can't imagine another part of town I would want to be set up.
I don't even want to sound corny, but it's been life changing being able to have our shop in this neighborhood and have the impact that we've had the last 4 years.
You wouldn't be here if we didn't have the shop here.
A lot of kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Straight up.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think it's really cool that what y'all do, because the first time I came in here, there was 10 kids in here from Edgewater, our local high school, which is right down the street. Y'all aren't just some snobby businessmen. Like, you guys talk to everybody in such a great way. You treat everyone the same with respect, and you really affect kids. Like, I've seen kids who are little turds turn into, like, good kids just from hanging out here.
That's humbling. It's like,
humbling,
you know, we're not like, yo, do this, do that. It's like kids just come in here enough times and they absorb enough shit. Yeah, you know.
Incredible.
And it's kind of like the cherry on top for us, because it's like when we came here and set up, we weren't thinking like we're gonna be like big brothers to a lot of these younger kids who come in here.
Nah,
Which
the
you are.
initial thought was like, yo, we got a high school right down the street. Like, we're gonna make money off these kids. Like, this is great. But then the more kids that started to come in, it was like, yo, like these are like, we look at them as like little bros.
Yeah,
Kinda cool.
and if we can offer our advice or experiences that we've dealt with to help steer them in a positive direction, then it's really cool and fulfilling, because we didn't have that. Like, we didn't have a cool shop to hang out and lurk in, and
we tell them that too.
And we
It's
tell
like,
them
yo,
that we're like, you guys are lucky that Pete and I are who we are to like want to be here and engage with you guys, because we did not have that.
we had a McDonald's to go to and hang out at.
Yeah.
Like, you go meet at the McDonald's. You guys can meet at a shop like this.
Yeah,
Like,
and like when we were going to New York and going in all these cool trendy stores, those dudes didn't want to talk to us either. So
No.
yeah, because those are the
they don't want to talk to you until the
you're
person you're buying, your person you're with
celebrity.
is buying the stuff. For
yeah,
you,
or that.
you know.
So it's cool to be able to have that kind of impact on the younger people.
That's definitely been one of my favorite things about having a shop, for sure.
Same here.
It's not something that I was expecting, but it's been like the best part of it.
Honestly.
It's really cool.
Yeah.